think a lot of people will agree that the movie Con Air is a good action thriller movie with a lot of tension and a good concept, with its cons take over the plane. The movie I will be talking about today, however, tries on some of the same concept called flight risk, where you see this female operative that has to transport a flight risk across the wilderness in Alaska. Sadly, it is a movie that is far from the quality of Con Air, and we will talk about why it fails on every level when compared with his classic movie from the 90s, and you might even call it the Temu version of Con Air. The first thing we need to address is the female lead role played by Michelle Dockery. And I'm not saying that such a role could not have worked, but to me this role feels very generic. It feels like a Peggy Sue style character where it is the job of the female character to just look and act tough, like an asshole woman with no emotion. Of course, as the movie progresses, she opens up, and it turns out she is not an asshole, but that she would be so confident, almost unable to be shaken out of balance in a heated situation, seems very unrealistic to me. Hell, even Nicolas Cage in the movie as Cameron Poe seems more nervous when he has to deal with all the bad guys, infiltrate him, and save the day. To me, she does not act like a hero, more like a female character that seems grumpy and out of place, at least the way she talks to the other character, Tapa Grace, that tries to offer a helping hand. In many ways, then you can say that Mel Gibson does cast the main character as a female operative, now back in the field at the mercy of the director. That seems like a shady inclusion play that does not work in this movie. The second issue we need to address with the movie is the lack of tension and suspense. You have this mildly tense fight between the main character and the criminal pilot played by Mark Wahlberg. That, of course, talks about his pedophile tendencies and how it talks about the mother of the accountant in the story. Those scenes between them, when they fight with that knife and such, and Mark almost gets the drop on the main character, are decent. But you do also feel that, like in other new movies these days, that she gets it too easy. She may be a highly trained operative, she may be up for a fight, still has a general feeling that Mark could have given her a better run for the money. And she would have needed a little help from the other main character that she chains up like a dog. Nevertheless, I guess that people want more women in these types of roles, but lately there has also been a backlash on that as people see that it is just a thing that does not work always the way it might have done in earlier movies. Sort of a trick where you can fool people once, but you can't fool them twice, kind of thing. A problem could, of course, also be that Michelle Dockery is not essentially the best actor, and she did a failed performance in the movie Boy Kills World, where she basically played a villain in another wearable action comedy movie. To me, however, I think it gives a false construct of reality that a woman would be so cool in such a heated situation. There's another certain thing that annoys me in this movie, and that is the cringe flirty move that happens on the phone in a second part of the movie. What is Indian pilot that she gets in contact with tries to flirt with her on the phone while it tries to help her fly and land a plane, which of course does not seem to have even an ounce of realism. How could you flirt with someone in such a heated situation? Not only does it seem morally wrong, it also seems like something that would never happen. To me, it just sounds plain stupid, and it comes off as a very cheeky attempt at making comedy in the movie. Furthermore, if we talk about the actual guy that is intended to be the flight risk, is not the actual flight risk. Topper Grace only plays the same role as it does in that 70s show, namely, of course, Eric Foreman. In this role, he feels completely out of place, and I feel it actually would have been better if the roles were switched out. Not that Mark Wahlberg, as his fake pilot, does a very good job, but at least he acts and feels more like a criminal character, as opposed to the other character played by Topper Grace, which is only there to play a scared little naive rat. That's why I feel if Topper had played a pilot and Mark Wahlberg was a real flight risk being transported, we could have had a better movie at our hands. I think another issue with the movie is how cheap it feels during some of the scenes. I'm sure Mel Gibson did not use a lot of time when he filmed these scenes when she calls the director or a friend on the phone. That later dies in the movie, and you do not even see how she dies. You wish you could see these characters during the scenes when the main female character talks to them on the phone, instead of just hearing them and seeing only how she reacts. And that, for instance, also that Indian pilot. That's why this movie at times looks very amateur made, and it looked like some cheap shit that Mel Gibson glued together that could have been made during COVID times. For me, this one clearly feels like a Temu version of Con Air, and if you cannot make it work with a female character like this movie fails to do, you should try to cast less of those in a movie with the female character in the story trying to be the hero. Because she never becomes as iconic as Cameron Poe. Of course, it would have been better to see that scene with the little girl where she had to run away and was judged for it, and seeing her then being reprimanded by the director. There's also a general feeling that you never build a character here, and that's why it does not work. But it is a weak performance from Michelle Dacre here, which is only brought in for inclusion. That simply is so prevalent in her acting, and that's why I will only give this movie a 5 out of 10.